With the turnout and the speakers, a very powerful event.
Yeah, it really was. You know, we see those initials everywhere, UAW, United Auto Workers, but really those initials and that name was really put into power with this stand-up rally. You know, we put a lot of stats on this whiteboard over the last week, going through all of the data, the percentages that the Big Three would offer the union, what their demands are, but now we simply sum it up with day one.
No justice! You ain't getting no Jeep! No justice! You ain't getting no Jeep!
UAW faithful from all around Metro Detroit and the nation taking their beef with the Big Three to the streets in a march from the shadows of the Detroit Auto Show, passing the GM Rinson headquarters, one of the battlegrounds in their fight for what the union calls fair wages after record automaker profits. It's all in the first day of a historic strike.
It's been a long time, and it's a long time coming.
Superman, as he's known at Ford Michigan Assembly in Wayne, Michael Metcalf says it's simply about doing what's right for the people who make our wheels possible.
Everybody's trying to make things better for us so that we can have a legacy for our children. So we're ready to do what it takes, which is stand up and wait for something better that we deserve.
Their demands holding firm: double-digit wage increases, an end to the pay tiers, cost of living adjustments, and more. Retirees say history is repeating itself.
I was in the business when a lot of this was happening, when the two-tier wage started, when Ford Motor Companies, when you did the Visteon, the parts plant spun off into the Visteon and into the ACH. You know, people losing seniority, loss of pay, you know, second tier, third tier workers without benefits, without, you know, where they started and stuff like that. So, and I think a lot of this right here is going back to those times.
The march capped a rally that felt like a convention. As affluent donors attended the charity preview, labor leaders and their political allies rallied for change, including former presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, who had a message for the CEOs, including GM boss Mary Barra.
Since you became CEO 8 years ago, you have made over $200 million in total compensation. And I say to Ms. Barrow, do you have any clue what it's like for one of your workers to try to survive on $17 an hour, which is the average starting wage of an automobile worker, $17 an hour.
The governor also took the stage.
Michigan was built by the working people, right? Number two, unions built the middle class. And we all do better when we all do better, amen?
It was UAW President Fain who got the last word, addressing Detroit and national media. I asked him to go by the numbers.
Will you come down from 35? Is there a number you'll come down to, like close to 30, 25, anything like that?
Well, when we get to where we feel we need to be, we can take an agreement to our members, we'll do that. I mean, the thing is, this is up to the membership. They vote.
And Fain says it could be a few days or maybe even a week before he announces what that next phase of the strike could be. So how's the Big Three responding? Well, GM has said they're disappointed. They stand by their latest offer. They say it's the best one in their 115-year history. They say it's their most generous, and Ford actually had to lay off 600 workers over at the Michigan Assembly plant. Now, Ford says it's not a lockout where everybody would essentially be laid off, and that would put pressure on the strike fund. It's basically a means of saying that whole plant is interconnected, and because of the strike, the targeted strike there at that Wayne facility, they had to lay off about 600 employees that are working in other areas related to the folks who were on strike in the first place. So a lot of interconnectedness here. That's what Ford's telling us tonight. Reporting live, Dave Kinchin, Fox 2 News.
Meantime, though, Dave, we've watched Fain really help the UAW gain its strength back again, and it seemed, after the bankruptcies, they were forced to give up so much. The union, it's been tough for them after the federal investigations into UAW leadership. Now, the union seems to be more strong, more powerful in its presence, and how they're really working this, and a lot of that many are attributing to Fain.
Yeah, that's really right. And what's interesting about that, the first time I talked to Shawn Fain was the first day he addressed the media. He just took office. He won by 500 votes, and the union, so it was a very tight margin, but he pledged to clean up things. They wanted to move past the corruption in the past and certainly run hard in a very unprecedented form against the big three. He said he would do it then back in March, and boy, you might say he's delivered on their end for sure.
Yeah, Fain was voted in rather than being appointed. That makes a difference as well. Dave Kensham reporting live for us. Thank you for the coverage.